Hi guys, today is January 25th, 2021, and futures pointing to a mixed open. Actually, S&P futures are higher a little bit. Dow futures dropping big. DRK is like down 200 points, and Nasdaq futures are soaring. Oops, QQQ. Nasdaq futures are soaring, almost 1% up. So the question is always why, and the answer to that is first of all, new President Biden will sign a travel ban on most. Non-citizens traveling from UK, South Africa, and Brazil. So that means only one thing, and one thing only: that the new strain that's actually capturing those countries is very dangerous and could bypass the new vaccines. And actually, Dr. Fauci said that this may be so. And he said that the new vaccines are less effective against the new COVID strains coming from these countries. And that's why actually Nasdaq futures are higher and Dow futures are lower, because people are rotating into the tech stocks, back into the tech stocks, because they're actually expecting more staying at home and basically less travel and so on. So that's why the mix open today, but in general, still cheerful mood on Wall Street. And I have to mention right now that shares of GameStop is up another what 50%. That's unbelievable. But later on that. Okay, so let's look at the SPY in general in technical terms. Okay, so SPY looks like it's going higher actually to me, but I would say I said it before and I say it again. Be careful, because in February usually is not a good month for the market. So QQQ is also looks like it's going higher. Okay, so and it's not overbought yet, so it's interesting that it's going higher. But like I said again, be careful. Okay, so let's move to corporate news. And before we do that, if you want to see my trades on pretty much everyday basis, check out my Patreon club in the description of this video, and drop me a like, as it helps me with YouTube algorithm. So I already mentioned GME, so let's start with GME. So shares of that company or that stock is higher by almost 50% after rising 50% on Friday, and it's becoming a craze about this. And I mean, obviously, it's a short squeeze, big time short squeeze. Okay, it was more than 100% shares were short of this company before the squeeze started, and only like a couple of weeks ago, this stock was trading at about $10, and now it's trading at 100 pre-market. So what can you say? It's unbelievable. People on Reddit are celebrating, and as they encourage each other and to buy the stock, and hedge funds and short sellers are rushing to cover this stock, because the stock is going higher like crazy, and they're just scared as hell. And I mean, known short seller Andrew left last week came out and said the stock should be worth at least the most $20, and he provided the reasons why. But pretty much users on Reddit, I declare a victory for them, and they can take a victory lap, because the stock is going higher like big time after his comments, and it looks like it continues to go higher. But eventually, it will end badly for those who are buying this stock, because it's going up without any fundamentals whatsoever. I mean, that's basically a struggling retailer, and with the high short interest, and people who are short are covering the stock. But eventually, it will fall down where it started. I'm pretty sure of that. But I wouldn't touch the stock. I mean, either way, because it's just too crazy for me what's going on right now, and I would just stay on the sidelines to watch what's happening. But I wouldn't touch the stock right now. Okay. Okay, so let's move on. Several Chinese companies are moving higher, like NIO and Baba. Okay, and Pinduoduo, PDD. Okay, these companies are moving higher because amid China becoming the world's leader in foreign direct investment, bypassing United States, and President Xi is delivering the keynote address at the World Economic Forum. So So obviously, the new president Biden expected to be more mellow on China than President Trump, former President Trump, and like I said, for the reasons before, these Chinese companies are in good shape and going higher right now. So I don't know if I would buy this push because I mean NIO ran up way too much for me. I mean, it was the market cap of 100 billion dollars, and I would rather buy GM actually. And GM has been going higher as well, but GM has a lineup of electric vehicles as well, and you know, I would rather buy. I think it's time to buy GM rather than NIO because GM has a smaller market caps than NIO, even though they delivered like 2.5 million cars, and NIO delivered like what 35,000 cars last year. So, but people only evaluate these companies based on their electric vehicle lineup. But and maybe rightly so. But I think GM is becoming a player in that field, and I think shares could be bought actually here, even though it's a little bit overbought right now. But it looks like it's going higher to me anyway. Okay, Palantir. Palantir shares are also higher pre-market, and it's ahead of the live demo day tomorrow, and continued interest by retail investors in the stock. And I mean, it looks good to me, except for the fact that again it's overbought, but looks like it's still gonna have a run a little bit. So I was still getting in the stock, but very short term, just to quicken in and out. But if you can't do that, I would not recommend it. Okay. AMC shares soaring this morning after the reports that it secured 917 million in new financing as it continues to deal with the pandemic effect on the movie theaters, and pretty much at this point bankruptcy is off the table. So investors are piling into the stock, and actually, maybe it's time to take a shot at this. Who knows? I mean, this is very low, and they basically the rates are so low that basically I can't see anybody going bankrupt at this point because you can just borrow, and money. You just say I want to borrow, and the money will flow into you like it's like it's nothing, like it's paper. So, and there these companies are borrowing at like very low, pretty much at zero rates. So uh, maybe it's time to take a shot at this. But new COVID strains and new development on the COVID part is keeping cap on the stock. But you know, if you're a more speculative investor, then maybe take a shot at this. You know, INTC. Okay, a lot of people were asking me maybe it's time to buy an Intel, and actually they reported pretty well. They showed a very good report, and but the new CEO, Ginzelger, came on a conference call, and from that point on, shares tanked pretty much because what he said is he said that they will be keeping the development of chips, Intel chips, in-house and almost not outsource it, and that actually didn't sit well with investors, and investors sold off the stock. And I actually think the stock will be further under pressure, and I wouldn't buy the stock right now. I think it's going lower. Okay, I would rather buy AMD. Actually, AMD is about to report earnings on Tuesday, as well as Microsoft. Okay, those two companies I think will go higher on earnings, and I would buy AMD on earnings before earnings, and I would buy actually Microsoft. Microsoft is also actual higher pre-market, and I think it's going to break out. Speaking of breakout, Apple. Apple is pretty much breaking out, up $4 pre-market, and looks like shares of Apple are going higher. And they actually report earnings on Wednesday, and Tesla reports earnings on Wednesday. I would be very careful with Tesla because the Tesla stock doesn't look very good on charts, and it looks like it might drop. So I would be very careful with Tesla at this point, and they're pretty extended as it is. So, but AMD, Microsoft, Apple, I think they may break out actually. So I would be interested to buy them before they report. Okay, BB is poised to continue to extend its 7-day win streak, it looks like. And it's higher today after reported it's resolved its patent dispute with Facebook. Well, what can you say? I mean, Blackberry is trading very high right now. RSI is close to like 92. That's insane. It was like 95. So I would be very careful at these levels with Blackberry. And I actually think the shares may drop a little bit. So I would not buy the stock, and I actually may actually short it or like buy puts. But again, these stocks are very difficult to short. Like these stocks like GME, GameStop, Blackberry, Bed Bath and Beyond, because they have very high short interest, and any good news, like a slimmer of good news, may take these stocks to unbelievable heights. Like GME, look at the GME. It was $10 2 weeks ago. Now it's over $100 pre-market. So who knows? So I wouldn't touch these stocks short, but I wouldn't buy them either. Okay, and the last one I'll give you, since I mentioned Facebook, is actually trading higher. And they're supposed to report numbers on Wednesday, and I expect a blowout quarter actually. And I think the shares may go higher. And in sympathy of that, of Facebook good numbers, I think Twitter may go higher. Even though I'm bearish on Twitter, and I think the recent cancellations of the accounts, like President Trump account and other account like of the conservative voices, actually let's call it as it is, may pressure the stock actually. And I think they're not doing themselves a favor, because they're not as good as Facebook. As I told you before, Twitter was the same Twitter 10 years ago, and the same Twitter, pretty much the same Twitter is now. But Facebook is a much different company, and I consider Facebook as head and shoulders above Twitter, because they actually do things much differently and much better. They acquire companies, they make their products, try to make their product better, and so I actually expect Facebook shares to go higher. But in sympathy of that, Twitter may also go higher. So take it as it is. Okay, that's it, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, click the like button, and I'll see you Thursday.